All right, welcome back, everyone. You guys get a special part two to or second edition live stream today. I got the one and only Millennial Mike back, so it's been a while. So how's it going, brother?
Dude, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited to be on your channel. We haven't chatted on your channel in a while. In fact, I think the last time we did was pre-recorded videos. It wasn't even a live stream or anything. So, and for the audience, I am testing out some new camera equipment. So if I glitch, I apologize. It's my fault, not Mark's.
Yeah, I won't put his channel in the chat because I'm sure you guys are all subscribed there. But yeah, it has been a while. It's good to catch up. So let's have some fun. I was already bashing him in the comments for running late. I said, I
True.
secured the scene
That's
for
true.
for him already. I know he's probably picking up donuts or something, but we can
Mm.
roll now. But how lot has changed since we probably chatted on a live stream or anything. So I believe a new kid, right?
New
Did you get
baby. That's
married?
right.
Did you
Yeah.
get married?
No,
Like,
no, not
no,
yet.
no.
Not yet. It's in the works. Don't worry.
And then, yeah, possibly retiring, leaving the W-2 soon. Is that what I'm hearing? So what's new with you, man?
Yeah, I mean the goal is always obviously financial freedom through real estate investing. That's always the goal. And for most people, that means quitting their W-2 job. It's certainly a goal of mine to be able to quit my W-2 job. I've been talking about it for years now. Bought my first rental property in 2018. It's now almost 2026. I guess I closed on it in November 28th of 2018. So it's like my 7-year anniversary is the end of this month. And Dion always talks about, you can get to retirement, financial freedom in 10 years. Well, I'm getting pretty close. I think there's a really good chance I might be in my final 12 months. Maybe I'll go longer than 12 months. We'll see. But I think there's a good chance that I'm in my final 12 months. And documenting that process is going to be interesting. What is it like to actually make that transition from a W-2 job that I've been working 60, 70, 80 hours a week on for years to actually being able to say, all right, I'm done. I'm out. I'm now going to go do real estate full time. Now, I would also give one little caveat, which is that I probably will not be retiring in terms of the amount of hours I'm working. I won't be just like Dion, where he doesn't have to do any work and he just collects rent. I will be leaving my W-2 job to go work on building a larger real estate business. So, property management, acquisition of new properties, and maybe even some new builds. There's some interesting opportunities that I haven't announced yet that I'm exploring. So this wouldn't be like a true retirement. It would probably be something closer to like the lumberjack landlord, where I still actively work on growing a portfolio and managing properties.
I know probably like a few years ago when we talked about this time, coming right around the corner. Are you going to get your license possibly? I know that was talked about before.
Yeah, I know. And really, the only reason I would potentially get a real estate license is because, like in Gary, if you're going to manage properties that you don't own, you have to have a real estate license, or in the state of Indiana. So now, obviously, I own all of mine, but I also own some in like partnerships. I'm not exactly sure how that works. So, I mean, no offense to real estate agents, but it's like an online course you can study and take and get your. It's not like the hardest thing in the world to get your real estate license. And so, would it be worth it to have it? Probably. Honestly, from what I understand, and yes, you would be a better expert on this than me. It's more difficult to just pay the upkeep fees to work through a brokerage than it is to actually get the license. So, but maybe I'm wrong about that. You let me know.
No, absolutely. So for a lot of those out there, they may not know I do have my license, but I'm not using it more for transaction reasons. It was more for property management, and just agent acquisition through EXP. But yeah, definitely, yeah, like you're saying, a lot of the agents, they just know how to open the door, show the home. There's very few good agents out there, and when you meet them, you'll know, definitely. But yeah, there is definitely a lot of fees associated with it.
Mhm.
I'm looking more for mine to just down the road when I do hit. I'm not sure who's going to beat who, but we can discuss that later. I know you
Who's
said
gonna
12
make it to
months.
retirement first?
Well, we'll see. Mine is a different reason though. Mine is might be injury related, so we'll see how that plays out.
Fair enough.
But I'm not sure if you met Yasik yet, but Yasik is from New Jersey. But he says, "Hello, everyone from amazing New Jersey. Special hi to the second and third responders."
Wow. Wait, what is he like an EMT? If he's gonna dog on us?
Yasik is a big bully in the community. He's new here, but he is when you meet him in Vegas, you're gonna love him, man. He is a
Good.
great guy.
Good.
And then, like I said, Hyder did say you the king of Gary on screen and jester of Gary in the chat. So
It's my
so
boy.
I believe you two were just did a recent video together too, right?
Oh, we did. Yeah, I actually had to pretend that I was going out to Gary to do work on rentals so I could spend some alone time with my man all nighter hider. So I had to have a good front story for my girlfriend. But I mean, you know what that's about. You're a firefighter. Spend a lot of time with a
Hey,
bunch of dudes. Anyway,
oh, there we go. See,
yeah,
he threw the first. Well, I guess I did,
it was
but
self-deprecating and it was after you. But anyways, moral of the story is yes. So Hyder is a partner of mine on a fiveplex. We own a fiveplex together with some other partners. And we've just had terrible, terrible experiences with the property managers out there in terms of how efficiently they're working and then the work that they're doing to remodel the building. Absolutely horrible. I mean, for those of you who don't know, when you install a window, it's just a square that goes into a square hole. Well, you put it in there, you put some screws through the side so it doesn't fall out, fall forward or backwards. But then you have to seal all the gaps around the window, right? It's pretty self-explanatory. We don't want air going in and out because that would either let cool air out or cold air in, depending on what time of year it is, or hot air out, hot air in. And then you also don't want to let water in. So like one of the most basic things you do is caulk the window in place. So we paid for window installation for, I forget the exact number, like 18 windows across 2 different units in this fiveplex. And we go out there, he's out there with me just so that we can work on my triplex. But while we're out there at the fiveplex, we look at these windows that we just paid to have installed. None of them are caulked. None of them. And so we start looking around at some of the other little work that we asked them to do, and they hadn't done anything, or they hadn't done it right. And so we went back and forth trying to get them to come out and complete stuff, but it's tough when you're not there. And so finally we just said, screw it, we'll go back our own. Flights, round trip flights from Seattle to Chicago or San Diego to Chicago are like $200 usually. So it's dirt cheap, and we can stay for free because we own a fiveplex with vacant units. / I own other buildings that are, at any given time I always have like one vacant unit. So we literally just bought air mattresses, sleeping bags. We brought some of our tools out. There's a little storage compartment at the fiveplex. We put a deadbolt on there, threw all our stuff in there, the sleeping bags, all that crap, and we just go slum it from property to property if we're doing work. So yeah, so we had a trip out there in September, another one in October. We've got another one coming up in like 10 days here in November. We are doing the work in terms of going out there and actually kind of starting to self-manage our properties. And that's our goal for 2026 is to move into self-management for this fiveplex. And I'm going to move into self-management for a bunch of my different properties.
I love that. I think what a lot of people relate to you about it too is, you're very transparent on YouTube. So even, you talking about that one project that's taken a lot longer than expected.
Yeah.
So, maybe talk about that a little bit. Is that completed yet, or where are you at on that one?
Oh, we're getting close. So Mark's right. I try to be as transparent as humanly possible on YouTube. I think it's very important to cut through the bull crap of the fake guru lifestyle. These real estate investors who only show you their wins. They're always trying to pitch you and sell you a course, a book, a mastermind, a boot camp, all this different stuff. These real estate investors who they chalk it up as some easy to accomplish thing, as it's not that hard to either get appreciation or get cash flow or do Airbnbs. It is. There's a lot of L's that you take along the way, a lot of losses. And so on my channel, I share the wins, but I also share the losses. I had a video that was relatively popular recently where I was like, I lost $160,000 on this triplex. If you're interested in all the details about it, please go watch the video. It's like 15 minutes long. But ultimately, that triplex I bought in 2023, March of 2023. And I immediately started remodeling it. And I just ran into problem after problem after problem. Flooring, the building sagging, the flooring needing to be replaced because it was spongy. The water main supply line to the building broke in the basement, flooded the basement. Just problem after problem after contractors not doing what they said, doing work in the wrong order for whatever. I mean, anybody in their right mind knows the last thing that you do is flooring. You sheetrock and tape and mud and do the painting, and then you put the flooring in. You don't put the flooring in first so that the giant mess of paint and everything falls on it. And I get out there and all the flooring's been done, and there's a bunch of demo that has to be done. So it just destroys the floor. So literally Dion and Chesla came out and they just pulled up $5,000 worth of LVP flooring and chucked it in a dumpster for me. It's totally unsalvageable. It was so frustrating. We could not protect it. It was already damaged anyways because they had already been working on it. So just annoying things like this, setbacks that like they're pretty common sense, some of them, but trusting the wrong contractor, not not having good enough controls in place to actually make sure that you're controlling what everyone's doing. As a leader, like you should be thinking of yourself as a leader, and just like you would lead a team of firefighters, or I would lead a detachment of officers, or you would lead a team in a basketball, soccer team, something like that. Like you are the captain, you're the boss, you're the leader, you're managing everybody. Sometimes that means that you have to fire people and you have to have hard conversations with people. And so, and recognizing you need stronger controls in place, because people that I trusted who did a good job for me before, their quality slipped or they got complacent, something happened, they didn't do a good job for me on this one, and I'm the one who pays the price. So yes, I lost $160,000. However, my after repair value on this triplex, because I'm so good at what I do, I am that guy, is still going to make it. So I don't even just break even. I actually do make a little bit of money. But think of the opportunity cost of 2.5 years of never collecting a penny of rent, funneling money out. And ultimately, even though I'm going to make money on it, throwing all that flooring away, if I didn't have to buy it twice, that would have been extra profit. So I lost out on what my profit should have been.
It's been a while, but I see you haven't become humble yet. But I do want to say what's up to Ryan Ruff on Instagram. Thanks for tuning in. Come check us out on YouTube. But Ryan will be speaking year 3 in Vegas in February. So hopefully his presentation is getting ready.
Good.
But we do see Jim does have a question. Jim, the grumpy contractor, is asking, are you planning on only investing in Gary and surrounding areas?
I mean, I have 28 rental units in 4 states: Washington, Illinois, Indiana, and Florida. I have a duplex in Washington. I've owned this one the longest, 7 years. I would love to buy another one out here, but ultimately, I think my money is better served in other markets. So, Dion built a huge portfolio out here. So that pushed me into looking out of state. So I started in Indiana. I did a bunch of stuff there. And then I moved to Illinois, which is, 30 minutes away, just across the border. Bought one out there. It's actually performing really well. I have like a $600 mortgage payment and $1,500 a month in rent. So it's a pretty good cash flowing property. I like it. Section 8. Section 8 in Chicago is a pain in the neck. But, once you get through all those hoops, not so bad. I probably won't buy any more out there just because I don't like the way that evictions take. It would take forever to do an eviction, and their Section 8 it was abysmal. It was really bad. It was tough to get through.
On that point, on the evictions, Jim also messaged me the other day. He wanted me to bring this up to you. So he saw something about Gary not allowing evictions during this winter
Yeah.
time. Is that common, or is that something they do
No,
every year?
no, it's not. And a bunch of people reach out to me and ask because the sheriff's department put a moratorium on evictions. And then the local Lake County, so that's the county that Indiana or that Gary's in, put an eviction moratorium for even longer, like a 4-month moratorium through the whole winter. My thoughts as to why this is happening, I think, is due to the fact that we have a government shutdown right now. I think what they're anticipating is that if the government does not pay Section 8 benefits, a bunch of landlords would move to evict. Surprisingly, maybe I'm alone on an island here. Nothing could be further from the truth. Like, yes, it would absolutely suck for me to not collect Section 8 rent payments. And there's a high probability that 75% of my rentals will not pay come December 1. We'll see if the government's still shut down. We'll see what happens. But there's no way that I would be doing an eviction on all of these people. Do you know how long it takes to find these tenants? How long it takes to find good paying? It takes a long time. I'm not going to give them up. And it as much as it sucks, it's not even their fault. They qualified for Section 8. If the government doesn't pay, that's the government's fault. If they pay their portion, and some of my tenants have no portion, it's completely covered, I'm going to let them stay there. Now, at some point, I would have to do an eviction, right? If they were there for 3, 4, 5, 6 months of the government not paying, at some point you're going to have to do an eviction. But this eviction moratorium is, I can't remember the exact dates. I think it's like November through February. Highly unlikely that I would be moving to evict people, even if there was non-payment, if there were Section 8 tenants anyways. So now that said, if you're already in the process of doing an eviction for a legitimate reason for something else, sucks to be you. We have one tenant in the 5-plex who has been just giving us the runaround for a few months. They were trying to get on housing assistance. They didn't qualify for it. We're going to evict them. Boom, moratorium. We're going to see how it plays out. Can we get them out fast enough? If not, I guess we're hanging out till February. We'll see. But this is not common of other years. I've never seen this before. If there was some sort of moratorium, it must have been for either such a short period or it just didn't affect me that I never noticed it. But I think the reason this one's being so publicized is due to the federal government shutdown and the anticipation of a lack of Section 8 payments.
But I thought I saw like an article, like the sheriff talking, like, "Oh, I've been on the force for 30 years, and we do this every year or something."
It's
No.
possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Mm.
Again, the sheriff's moratorium is short. It's like a month or something like that. I have to look at the exact dates again. It's possible that they do. Again, I've never noticed it. No one's ever brought it up to me before, and it's possible I never did an eviction in the month of December. I mean, I've only had a couple evictions ever, and they didn't happen in the month of December, so I didn't notice. But this one, where the county is saying 4 months, never heard of that before. So I guess we'll see.
Hyder's saying almost shared air mattress.
We almost shared a sleeping bag was the real problem. It's getting cozy in there.
And like I said, you'll love Yasik when you meet him, but he does say getting comfortable with those sleeping systems. I thought SWAT was supposed to be tough. No sleep till job is done.
Dude, you can ask Hyder. When we first went out there for that first 12-day stretch in September, I was there for 12 days. I think he was there with me for 7 of them. We worked 15-hour days. We got up at 6 or 7 in the morning and we worked until 10 o'clock at night. And then by the time we actually left the left the triplex, got back to the fiveplex with some food, ate, took showers, and went to bed, dude, we were burning it at both ends. It was brutal.
Jen is asking, why do you think you did fire them earlier? Or didn't fire them earlier? No time and got busy? Thought they would turn it around?
Yeah, that's a good question. So you should definitely fire people very quickly when they're not doing things properly. This is a disadvantage of investing at a distance. So I've done a bunch of projects. When I hired them for this triplex, I had done a bunch of projects where I'd used this contractor and he'd always done a good job for me. Yeah, he was a little bit slow, oh, Mike, I'll have it done in 2 weeks. It took 4 weeks. But that's the case with lots of contractors. So I never really stressed it that much. And he had done larger jobs and he'd done smaller, like turnover flips, just some painting and stuff. Always done a good job. I hired him to do this triplex. And the frustrating thing was I have to rely completely on them with the status of the building and what's going on. And so he's sending me pictures of work, things that are being completed. Hey, we got the plaster, we got it replastered, we got it painted, we got some flooring down. Oh, great. Work is being done. And he's done work for me in the past. Fair enough. It's taking a little bit longer than I'd like, but whatever. But then what happened is they started finding problems that they should have found before they did any of that other work. Well, and that's what led to it needing to be redone, leading to it to be destroyed. Now, okay, well, you already have a relationship established. Do you fire somebody right away because they made a mistake and didn't find something? Maybe, maybe not. If I fire him, how long does it take for me to find somebody else to start over? And they're going to still have to go through the same process. So was I more lenient on him than I should have been? Possibly. Was I more lenient on him than I would be on somebody else moving forward? Maybe. I don't know. But it wasn't until I actually went out there. So at some point, a few months into the project, I had bought, I forget. I think I had bought like 14 units in a 6-month period. And they all needed to be remodeled. And I got to the point where I was like, with this triplex, we're so far from the finish line. It actually makes sense for me to move this guy over to a duplex that's way closer, get it finished, put some tenants in there, bring some income in. So I moved him over to a duplex. I also had another project going on another duplex. So I remodeled both of those duplexes. And those are both all fully rented out right now. And then I was like, I'll approach the triplex later because I just keep digging holes in this thing. It just keeps one problem after the next, one problem after the next. Well, it was eventually I figured out, look, this guy, he's too slow. He can't get things done on time. I just don't want to use him for this triplex anymore. So I was like, I'm just not going to use you anymore. I'm going to pause this thing. And I let it sit there for like a year, nothing happening on it while I finished up all these other projects. You only have so much money. And so I had to prioritize where I wanted to spend that. I decided to go out there and take a look at this triplex, assuming that it was, I don't know, 80% of the way done. I knew painting had been done. I knew flooring had been done. I get out there, and that's when I first discovered how in over his head this guy was. So we had found that leak in the basement. The water main had a problem, flooded the basement. And we had to replace all of the subfloor because it was soggy. We'd had to jack the house up because the house was leaning in the center, or kind of sagging in the center. Well, he had told me it had flooded. Now, rather than dry out the basement clean it up, dry it out, clear any of the garbage out, and put dehumidifier in there, some heaters in there, and get it so that we could seal the floor back up. He literally just put brand new subflooring down in the entire basement unit over the entire floor with water down there. Well, of course, that molded. It turned into mold, and it destroyed the whole basement unit. All that subflooring's got to come up, got to be destroyed. We've got to put new stuff down. The joists that are going across, we've got to treat that. We got to dry it out. So I'm looking at this, and I'm like, this was just gross negligence. A terrible job that he did. No idea why he did this. And I think really it was just he was just trying to get work done. And I got to send pictures to Mike that I did something. Say, hey, look, here's all the new flooring. Mike's not going to come out here and check. And he's right. I didn't come out there and check for a while. That's my fault. My fault for trusting somebody. I should have had more controls in place. Even though I trusted him, I should have verified, because that would have saved me in the end. So should I have fired him faster? Probably. But you don't always know along the way. And I was working off of an established relationship. I didn't have any reason not to trust him yet. He'd been successful for me for like 2 years at this point.
So before we get into some more of these questions in the chat, I do want to ask you kind of mentioned possibly 12-month timeline to stepping away from the W-2. Like, what are you going to have to be in those 12 months? Like, what is it going to take? Is there a certain amount of cash flow you're looking to get per month more by then? Or so what is the factors leading up to that?
Well, so I coined the strategy, the slow burr 2.0, like a couple of years ago, and then Bigger Pockets stole it from me. Because that's just how they are.
I was going to ask, do you work for them now? I saw you on their recent video. Or no, they're not even Bigger Pockets anymore. It was Rob Built and David Green.
Yeah, Robuilt and Dave Green used my opening monologue in their video explaining why they got fired from Bigger Pockets. So anyway, I appreciate being used. Send a shout out next time. But what will it take? Well, so the slow burr strategy. Most people use the burr strategy on as quick a time frame as possible. They want to get in and get out as quickly as possible. They want their cash out refi to refund them all of their original money so that they can move on to the next project. And I realized, well, wait a minute, hold on. What if I used private money to buy this property, and I set up the terms for the private money so that it's advantageous for me and it's affordable, and I can just maintain the private money for several years, like up to 8 years, before being required to do a cash out refi due to our contract. So I set up some private money with a local investor here in Seattle, paid her a phenomenal rate, and she was thrilled about it. And then I just started remodeling buildings, and I sat on them after they were remodeled and just continued to pay the private money. And so I could have done a cash out refi, but I didn't like the interest rates. Didn't know if I'd get the appraisal I wanted. So rather than targeting 6 months, I went all the way to 2 years of ownership on this building before interest rates, as most people are aware, have dipped down a little bit recently. And I was able to get a principal and interest payment that I thought was acceptable, as well as a cash out refi amount that I thought was acceptable. So I'm about to, literally this week, I'm closing on a $156,000 cash out refi. It's a $156,000 loan, essentially, that's what I'm taking. And my payment on it will be like $990 a month. And the payment will go on a duplex that's rented for $2,100 a month. So pretty good. With that $156,000, I'm going to take $25,000 of it and finish off the triplex that we were just talking about. So I'll take a bunch of that money, pay off some of the different credit cards that I'd racked up all the bills on for paying for materials for the triplex and that duplex. I'm going to wipe those credit cards out, take $25,000, finish the triplex. Well, now the triplex is done. That's also a slow burst strategy. I also have private money sitting on this triplex that I've been paying. One of the things I've been losing money on for 2.5 years, making that payment. Well, I'm going to go to a bank and say I've got a $250,000 triplex. I want $100,000 out of it, or $125,000. I don't have to take the full amount. I can keep my payment low and just take out enough that I can go work another project. So now I've got some money left over from the first one I'm closing on this week. The triplex I should finish in the next 2 or 3 months here. I'll walk away with probably a couple $100,000, and I'll throw all of that at a fourplex that I've had sitting on standby for a year and a half. Finish remodeling that, do the exact same thing, cash out refi on that property. Again, I won't take the full amount out. I'll just take enough out that I now have a big fat stack of maybe $150,000, $200,000 left over. And triplex is now rented out. And ideally that fourplex is now rented out. The duplex, the one I'm closing on right now, is already rented out. So I add 7 more rented out units to my portfolio, which brings in approximately $7,000 more for me. And let me remind you, I'm already making payments on all these things. So putting the mortgage payments on is actually lower payments than what I'm currently paying. So transitioning from the private money debt to the 30-year fixed rate debt already lowers my payment. And then every unit I add on, each tenant that goes in there is pretty much just straight profit. So I go from $7,000 to $8,000 a month in profit to like $15,000, $16,000 a month in profit. I have a big fat stack of cash that I can now play with, and maybe I pull the plug.
I know you also recently did an interview with Brandon, B2R Invest, talking about the slow burr, right?
Yes. He says he's doing Burr 3.0. Not buy, build.
Yep. I'm not sure if you know who Flavio is, but Flavio is in Grandview, Washington, but he's in the school community. He'll be in Vegas. But he says, Mike, Hammond is better area to invest.
Well, better how? Do you mean better in terms of there's lower crime, higher property values? Absolutely. Yeah. No, 100% it is. More expensive properties? Sure. Absolutely. But better is subjective. So the reason I like Gary, first of all, I know the market really well, and all my people would go work in Hammond. It's very close. But there's good opportunities in Gary. There are really, I am sworn to secrecy on a few things. All I can say is I promise you 25 years from now, everybody's going to look at me and say, you're a freaking genius. I can't say everything that's going on behind the scenes. There's some stuff that's going on behind the scenes that's going to make me look like a really smart person one day.
Well, we'll see. So the running joke is Flavio likes to say Gary in Pittsburgh, he needs to wear a bulletproof vest to go walk those neighborhoods. So that's the inside joke. But the funny thing is Flavio's coworker was the police were looking for him in Grandview today. So
they were looking for Flavio's coworker
or ex-coworker in Grandview, Washington.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, so the other thing, Sarah Garrett was on a couple months ago. I don't know if you remember her. She spoke at the event in February. They had the VA loan, the military. But
right.
She said the joke was her family, when they used to drive through Gary, the bomb wouldn't stop. She would tell them, use the bathroom before we go through that area. We're not pulling over. Like, make sure we have gas and just drive right through.
Absolutely true. Yeah. No, it's it is like stepping into a third world country. You're like, is this a city in the United States of America, or is this war-torn post-Civil War Syria? Like, I'm not exactly sure where I am right now. There's just abandoned buildings that are falling apart and bricks and rubble all over the place. Did a torpedo, or I guess not a torpedo, that's Navy. Did a missile hit something here? It's crazy. Crazy.
Jack Stewart's asking, where can I get a cool hat like Mike's? Maybe something like King of PGH Pittsburgh or 412 King. Is that a custom made hat for you?
No, it was actually a gift, but I've seen them at some store when I was in Gary. My property manager actually bought this for me, and so when I went out to dinner the one time, she gave it to me. But yeah, I mean, it just says premium snapback. I'm pretty sure people like to rep their cities, rep their states, rep their schools. So I think you very likely could probably just go online and find something like this. But I wear it for the branding and also to cover the fact that I really need a haircut.
I do see Justin Canberra tuning in. He's actually going to be in Hawaii this weekend, so I think we're going to meet up. But he says, you're a freaking genius today, he's telling you.
Thanks, bud.
He said,
Justin's a good dude. Everybody should follow his channel. And if you have not liked the video already for my friend here, Mark, financial firefighter, I'm surprised he doesn't beg more. I don't know if you've ever seen the firefighters standing out on the corner, holding their boot, begging for change, putting on their suspenders, but taking off all their shirts to sell their calendars. But yet when it comes to YouTube, he doesn't want to ask you guys to like the video. So like the video, because there is always the threat that he could just start pimping himself out, and we don't need to see that.
Oh, that was you. You had like videos with no shirt on, and now you're gonna be like doing stuff on Rumble and all these stuff.
I think I'm not gonna be doing porn on Rumble. I mean, it's free speech on Rumble. That's the point of Rumble. Also, I don't remember doing a video with my shirt off. I don't.
What do you mean?
I probably have.
Yeah, like
I'm trying to remember. I know I've done 1 or 2 videos from the beach before, but I can't remember.
No. Anyways,
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth.
Charles McCune, who's buying a helicopter for his wife, he says he will help you verify work. He's telling
He's a
me.
good dude. Yeah, he actually
Yes.
came out one day
Oh, that's right.
and hung out with Hyder and I when we were there in September. And yeah, no, I mean, I'll take you up on that, Charles. If I have some big project and I need somebody to go do quality control, I'll send you over there to smack him into shape for me. Thank you. Thank you for the offer, my friend.
Uh, Rick Freeman is saying, "Yep, I have a guess which person you're talking about, Millennial Mike. If it is, I had to drop him too.
Yeah, you can message me offline. I don't like to bash people or companies. I mean, unless they really deserve it, like
Just firefighters."
right. Well, firefighters and pickpockets, um, but yeah, I mean, if you want more details, I mean, I'm happy to chat with you about it offline. But yeah, I mean, there's a few people who I used and did a good job, and then they got in over their head, or their quality started to go down, or I don't know. I don't know exactly what changes somebody over time. I worked in construction for 18 to 25, so 7 years before I became a cop. And I worked as hard as I could on day one as I did when I left. Like there was no all of a sudden our company just sucked at what we did and we stopped taking care of people. So I think really it's tough to find good people, and ultimately you're going to pay more for good people. That is true. And so if you're trying to save money, you run the risk of, hey man, these people don't have their lives organized very well. That's probably why they're cheaper. And then you take that gamble and sometimes you pay for it.
So has the new relationship for you and the newborn, has that sped up the timeline? For I mean,
I would slow me down. These women be costly, man. They're expensive. So no, she's worth every penny. And so is, obviously, of course, so is my son. Um, it's definitely another motivating factor. You know, when it was my now 9-year old, you know, he's not sitting there every day being like, "Okay, please don't get shot at work tonight." You know, like he's just like, "Oh, Dad's going to work." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to work." And now I have to be like, listen to, "Oh, please be careful. It's dangerous out there." And it is dangerous. I was at a fatal collision last night. It was pretty tragic where some individual had been driving home and they were driving through the mountains and it was a windstorm and a tree fell on their car. Total fluke accident. If it had been 1 second later or 1 second earlier, it either would have fallen in front of them or behind them. Just happened to fall right on their car. And you realize like how precious life is, how impermanent it is, and puts into perspective what's really important: family, friends, the ability to do things that are just more meaningful. And so there is definitely added incentive to spend more time with family and friends and get myself out of a situation that's pretty dangerous. And even though I like it, and of course, it's a little hypocritical because, as your friend said, yeah, I mean, the whole point of investing in Gary is so that I always have an excuse to wear a bulletproof vest, even after retirement. But there's definitely some good new motivations.
but you've probably been doing it long enough too, right? So like for me, I'm at the point where it's kind of like I've had a great career and I've done enough, and it's like it's time to move on. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna miss it, but it's kind of like I had my run already. No.
You know, it's funny. I think not quite for me. I mean, I just hit 10 years. So 10 years. I was almost 7 years on the SWAT team. I resigned from the SWAT team as part of leading up to my anticipation that I'm going to retire. I was like, look, I need more time to get things in order to retire, which means I need to resign from this thing that has me getting called out in the middle of the night. You can't have a planned schedule, I have to be available. And it was one of the biggest cuts to my identity or personality that I've ever had, is to like give up that portion of my life, of my job, of what I do. You know, I jump out of helicopters, I shoot a bunch of guns, I go into high risk scenarios. I get to be that guy. It's the, you know, when you're a little kid and you're like, dude, I want to grow up and be in the military. I want to grow up and be on the SWAT team. Nobody ever says they want to be a firefighter, but we could pretend they do for your channel. But you're like, hey, I want to do these cool things. And I get to be one of those people who gets to do the cool things and get paid to go to the range and shoot guns. I get paid for that. I would pay to do that. I got paid for that. And to give it up, I actually didn't feel like I was quite ready, which is something I didn't anticipate. I did a couple videos with Dion about this. You mentioned my Rumble channel earlier. I highly recommend that you start one. I'll give you a little secret why, and I'll tell you something that I've only told Dion and Matt. But before I get to that, I did a couple videos on my Rumble channel with Deanna talking about giving up your identity. and how it's tough. It's really tough. And I didn't anticipate that as ever being a hang up to early retirement, that I have to essentially put all of these pieces of my identity up on the shelf, and I will never be that person again. I will never be on a SWAT team again. At some point, I will never, ever be a police officer again. I will never go respond to a crazy collision like I did yesterday. I'll never write another ticket for some idiot doing something stupid. I'll never take somebody to jail again. It's weird. Like, you'll never respond to a fire again at some point. Like, you'll never comfort people as they're in an incredibly tragic moment, or they're scared. Yeah, maybe in our lives moving forward, we'll have some crazy incident that happens as a civilian. It is possible, but like, the intensity and the frequency with which we do these things now, you're going to put that portion of yourself up on a shelf, and it's going to slowly gather dust for the rest of your life. And that's hard to swallow. I think if you like your job, which I do, I assume you do as well, because that's the only reason we get into these kinds of jobs. Now, Rumble, Mark, for those of you who don't know, YouTube has a ton of restrictions when it comes to free speech. The reason why we say, oh, I got the jab, instead of the actual medical term that everybody recognizes. The reason why I say things like, I have to go shoot pew-pews, instead of actually say what is protected by your Second Amendment right, is because YouTube will demonetize, get rid of videos, boot you off if you talk about the wrong topics or say the wrong words. I don't like that. I like free speech. I'm a free speech advocate. And so Rumble is a program that's very, very similar to YouTube. It operates almost exactly the same. You just type in rumble.com, and it looks like YouTube with just a different color scheme. And what I've noticed is that when you go on Rumble, it's a very popular site. There's millions of views across videos. Most of them are political videos, because guess what? Political topics are the ones that get censored the most heavily. So all of those creators had an incentive to go start somewhere else. The next thing is, outside of political, would be like comedy shows that are too inappropriate, streamers, gaming streamers who say things that are too inappropriate for YouTube. They have moved over. So there's millions of viewers watching Rumble. You go look at the financial video section, real estate, stocks, crypto, there's nothing, because nobody who makes those kinds of videos is getting censored on YouTube. So they don't have an incentive to move over to that platform yet. So when you go look up house hacking, or investing in Gary, Indiana, or how to retire with real estate, there's nothing. Or maybe there's like a couple videos that are loosely related to the topic, and that's it. Nobody owns the algorithm over there for these niches. So my advice to Dion and to Matt and to you and to just our community right here, the people who happen to be watching this far into the video, if you're interested in owning some of the algorithm, I can't tell you that all the views are over there yet, but I watched when Instagram took off, and I watched when TikTok took off, and the same thing happened there. It started as little silly comedy skits, started as little silly comedy skits, and then music. And then all of a sudden it was flooded with people who brought every other type of genre that you possibly could to TikTok, to Instagram. I'm pretty confident it's going to happen on Rumble as well.
See, I feel X is that. No?
You feel what?
I feel Twitter or X is that. That's the,
no. Yeah. Yeah. No, but Twitter's another great example. So, put stuff on Twitter as well, but Twitter's already well established. It's tougher to break through the noise. Look, in order to be successful and win, you can be the best, you can cheat, or you can be first. It's really tough to be the best. There's a lot of competition out there. I don't cheat, not even on women. I'd rather just be first. So if you can be first, it's a good chance that you're going to be successful. So you take it for what it is. You want to go on Twitter? By all means, have at it. A lot of competition on Twitter, a lot of competition on YouTube, a lot of competition on Instagram. No, and I mean no, dude. After this call, go check Rumble out. There is nothing. There's nothing on there for financial topics.
Yeah. No, I have a Rumble. I don't know. It seems harder to navigate so far when I go there. But maybe that's why. Yeah, you just gotta get used to it.
Fix it eventually. There's too many people who are being moved over there for like the political topics. Yeah. And if you look at those videos, they have millions of views, which means millions of people are using that platform, and they will use it for looking up financial stuff at some point.
But you're used to being the second responder, so you're used to not being first normally.
That
But
wasn't even a good joke. That was a desperate
well,
attempt at
well,
a
I'm
guy.
trying to read comments at the same time. But hold on.
I
Uh,
can't because my phone for the first time ever is I'm actually using my phone as the camera, so I have no idea what people are saying. Hopefully, it's positive things.
no, they are. That's why there's so many coming in. I'm trying to find the one I skipped over. There was one by Chris Ramsey. He said, "Shoot, where the heck did it go? I moved it, and then now I can't find it. Oh, there. Um, the sunk cost plus timeline struggle is real. You're gonna be batting close to 1,000 for the next one. Batting close to a
Yeah.
thousand for the next one.
Hmm. Yep. And sunk cost is something you got to be aware of. Sometimes it is worth it to just cut your losses and bounce. That was not the case here. If I had sold my triplex in its current state, maybe it would sell for what I bought it for. But if I just get it across the finish line and put another 20, 30 into it, even though I've already sunk a bunch of money into it, once it's in its after repair value state, it goes from a value of 60, 70K to 250 to 300K. So you don't want to be so emotionally involved that you can't recognize when you've lost and you need to get out, but you also have to not be so panicked and afraid that you can't persevere and push through to the finish line.
I want to say thank you to one of the OGs of the One Rental at a Time community, Dividend Dave, for the super chat.
Nice.
Yeah,
He's a
thank
good
you.
dude. We actually texted recently. We were texting about some of his Gary properties. He's in a couple of group chats and he's like, man, so many people are saying Gary's struggling and having problems. And I was like, well, how are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm doing great. I was like, well, good. That's great,
Yeah,
Dave.
I actually met him in person when I was out in North Carolina. We met up, and he met some of the other people in the school community, so that was fun.
Good.
There was a where I'm trying moving back now. Where did Jen's question go? Hold on. Where did it go? Something about boots on the ground. Oh yeah. Could you have gotten boots on the ground to keep tabs on the contractor or visit constantly during your project? I want to learn not to get into the same situation since I'm also out of state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things that I always talk about is having quality, reliable boots on the ground. Again, the frustrating thing is this individual was someone who I would have considered my boots on the ground. So I've had multiple different contracting teams or property managers that do repairs, and I use this guy to check in on some of their work. I didn't think to have somebody check in on him. I should have. So highly recommend, no matter how trusted the person is that's doing work for you, how long their track record of success is, find somebody else to be the quality control to go out there and check. Will definitely prevent a bunch of problems, or you'll at least catch them much earlier. That would be my takeaway. You want to catch things as quickly as possible. Number two, how hard is it to go out there? Well, I'm a single father, full custody of my son, and so due to his school schedule, it'd be really tough for me to get out and get back. It's not the case anymore. I have a wonderful significant other, another new baby. Well, she helps in terms of I have a little bit more free time. I can now go take a weekend and go out there and do quality control myself. It's not that expensive. I don't know where you live and where your rentals are, but for me, going from Seattle to Chicago, it's like a $200 to $250 round trip. That's the cost for the tickets.
That's it.
It's pretty cheap to go from Seattle to Chicago. Yeah, super cheap. And so, what are you going to save in having better quality controls? How many thousands of dollars will you save in not having contractors steal from you? It's probably easier to take the flight, get a rental car. And in my case, I don't even have to pay to stay anywhere. I just go stay at one of my empty units. So now I slum it in a sleeping bag and an air mattress. And maybe that's not your style, but I was a Boy Scout for a long time, so I don't care. It's great. And I would highly recommend that probably you should try to get out there, or you just need to have boots on the ground checking each other's work if necessary.
Jim, the grumpy contractor, says, have you looked at any properties in Gary this year? I have comped out several in that area for practice and have not seen the returns. Seems construction cost there has gotten way more expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, it has. And I think the reason it's gotten more expensive is because demand has skyrocketed. More and more people, and this, I'm kind of suffering from success. I have, not to sound like an arrogant jerk, I am one. I just don't want to sound like one. But I have shined a spotlight on this city, and it doesn't take many people or many other investors to affect a market. If my videos, when I make videos about Gary, go out to a few thousand people. And I've had some of my Gary videos do really well and got to several thousand people. Well, if I even just turn on 50 new investors, just 50 to an area, which easily I have if I look at my group chats, that's 50 new people who are providing good product for tenants that now these tenants, do they want your stuff or do they want one of the other 50? Those same 50 people are looking at the same 3 or 4 property managers, looking at the same 3 or 4 good contractors. And what happens when you have too much requests for work and not enough ability to do the work? You jack your prices up, suffering from success. So yes, prices have gone up for construction out there. Some of the companies that I'd used in the past, I'm like, I ain't gonna pay that now. No way. And that's where I'm doing some of the work myself. You might not be in a position to do that. What I did to ameliorate the problem was I did have smaller handyman who I would have do jobs that would do it at more affordable prices, and they were cheaper because they're not a big trusted company, or they can't do it as quickly, or they don't have as much experience, et cetera, all these different reasons. But with that comes its own set of problems, which is they might take advantage of you, run around on you, take your money and bounce. There's a bunch of problems that could happen. So I would say you want to drip the money to them, $200 a week to maybe $1,000 a week. You never ever let them buy materials. I'm paying for all materials. All my guys, they go to Home Depot, they go up to the pro counter, and they have whatever materials they need for the job for the day or for the week. I pay for all of them on my credit card. I get an immediate copy of the receipt so I can see what they bought. So I pay for all the materials. I also get the credit card points for all the materials. That's nice. And then what's up, stud? And then from there, you're sending them just you agree on what a labor cost for the job is before you start, and then you're paying them just a weekly amount. That's it. You don't even need to do the 50% up front. They're not buying materials. It's just, okay, here's doing your work this week. Here's $1,000. Here's $500, and you drip the cash to them to keep them addicted to it and coming back for more. What's up, Curtis?
What's up, man? I thought it was uneducated economist real quick in the car during the recording, but thanks for joining us, man. I know you have a lot of questions for Mike. It's probably been a while too, but I want to quickly get to Chester's question real fast before that Curtis jump in. But Chester's asking you, Mike, what do you want your portfolio going to look like when you're ready to switch from growth mode to maintenance mode?
So, I'll be honest. I think I kind of differ from well, I don't know. Zuber's actually really changed his tone in the last some of his interviews he's doing, where he's like, I'm going to repeat what I did in 2006, 2007, and I'm going to go from 180 to 500 units. That him talking like that is a new thing. I've been interviewing him and chatting with him since I bought my first property in 2018. And for a long time, he said he didn't have any plans to grow. He might even sell some. So that's changed. So when I say I'm different from them, maybe I'm not. Dion doesn't want to grow. He wants to sell. The lumberjack's also a little bit, do I want to grow? Do I not want to grow? He likes to remain aloof. I will openly say I don't have any plans to ever switch to maintenance mode. I will continue to try to grow a portfolio forever. The more money, the better. Maybe this is a arrogant thing of me to say, but I just truly believe that our country is in a very difficult situation. We need more strong, capable, competent leaders, specifically men, to step up and save this country from where we're headed. That costs money. You need influence, you need power, and you need money. So if I can make enough money to fund my own ideas, remodel not just buildings, but cities, communities, look, whether you like Elon Musk or not, he's got a lot of money, power, and influence. He can affect his will very effectively. Will I ever get to that level? Probably not. But I certainly could help change my local community, my local city, and maybe my local state. And I would encourage anybody out there to take that same perspective. Maybe you don't want to be a multi-billionaire or whatever, but it is on us to create the nation and the community and the culture that we want.
I love that answer. That's very different. But Curtis, welcome, man. I know you have some questions for Mike, man.
Yeah. So it's been a while since I've actually seen Mike in person.
All of us.
Since Vegas, I think.
Jeez, man. But so we know that you got your duplex near Seattle, and then you went straight to Gary. Do you ever think back, like, gosh, I wish I did maybe one more house hack here? Because I know you've seen so much growth in the duplex that you have now.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's a very fair point. At the time, before, in fact, I started investing in Gary before I met Dion, before I even met somebody who would say, hey, why don't you just house hack again here? And so there's definitely always going to be missed opportunities. Hindsight's 2020. Do I regret it? I don't really regret it. Like, I don't sit around and be like, oh man, I wish I'd done this. I can't believe I didn't. But there's absolutely opportunities. I could have been like, oh, okay, I'll just bounce into another duplex locally. Definitely good opportunities. It could have done it differently. That's kind of what you're doing, right? I mean, you've got a couple in the area, and I think what you're living in a triplex right now. Last we chatted.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, dude. I think it's a fantastic strategy. I have nothing negative to say about it whatsoever. I think it's a great strategy. It works well in a high cost of living area. And I just did something different. I don't even necessarily know which one's better or which one's worse. I think they're both good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm kind of preparing for number 3, and so me and Mark have had this talk where it's like, okay, do I do another house hack here? Do I go out of state? It's going to be basically kind of the same price. Like 5% down here is the same as 20 or 25% in the Midwest. So
Yeah.
We're kind of talking about that. Where, because I know you've talked about you're going to move to Florida once you're done.
Mhm.
Are you going to house hack there? Maybe not side by side duplex, but are you thinking of doing that wherever you move next?
Yeah, I mean, I really think a house hack is like the best way to get into any real estate market. I have lived in Washington since I was 17. So, and I just turned 35. God, I'm old. so,
Whoa,
so,
watch it, man. Hey, hold
yeah.
on.
I mean, not as old as this guy, but you know, and it probably took a good several years of living here in Washington before really knowing where you want to live. What are the good neighborhoods? Like, I know Curtis is a Washington native, like, or at least he's been here for a while. So you know that you don't want to live in Parkland or probably Spanaway unless you go really, really deep south into Spanaway. All of a sudden it gets nice again, right? Puyallup is okay. South Hill is better. And I'm listing a bunch of neighborhoods that Mark's never heard of before. But and I'm sure Mark could do the same thing probably for Hawaii, although I think the stigma is that Hawaii is probably nice everywhere. But it takes a while to know where you really want to live. So if I was going to move into a new market, I'd probably try to house hack. Get a simple house hack that makes sense, that cash flows, and then live there for a couple of years before I really decide where I want to live. Now, the only kind of cheat code I have on this is that my girlfriend is a Florida native, lived there her entire life, and only moved here for me. So she knows a lot of the good spots and good areas. But even said, I would still probably house hack first, because why not? Why not show up and get a fourplex right out the gate? Probably a good idea.
Yeah, probably good. The people that I talk to and all these events that I go to, or just in passing, they always say, "Oh, I have a wife, or I have a husband, or I have kids, and that's why I can't house hack." And so I think it's really awesome that you, as someone that's about to be retired and have a wife or a girlfriend, I'm not really sure what the title is,
Okay.
and have a kid, that you're like, yeah, my next one will be a house hack.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, and I mean, look, it's very tough. There's a lot of people. It's tough to move backwards in quality of life. If right now we lived in a 2,500 square foot house and I said, let's go move into a 1,200 square foot apartment, duplex, something, probably would be a very tough sell. Very tough sell. But if I just say we're currently in a 1,200 square foot, 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, half of a duplex, and I say we're just going to move into something that's the same size, it's not a step back. It's tough to get people to make a step back. Now, for those out there who are trying to get started investing, suck it up. You need to do this in order to get started investing. I don't even need to. I will, because I think it's the smartest financial move, and I for the reasons I just illustrated. If you're trying to get started, suck it up and do it. And then again, I'm just going to do it because I think it's the right thing to do. And she really supports me. That's one of the great things about her. She's amazing.
Nice.
I do see a question from Jason. He says, "Who owns Rumble?" You know, I forget the guy's name.
Lodge. Yeah, I don't know. Some dude who's a free speech advocate. I believe he's conservative. So yeah, I don't remember the guy's name either. But he's doing real well. Their stock was way up. I remember reading some article about that. Their company's valuation had skyrocketed or something. So.
Curtis, I'm sorry, I didn't hear, but did you bring up the fact that maybe how Mike went to Gary for kind of the excitement of transactions and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So Mike, you're young, but you're a little older than me, and that's okay. But I think both of our youthness kind of lends to wanting to feel that rush of
Yeah.
finding the deal, doing all of the work. And then Gary, you can go really fast because I
Yeah.
think it's like a BOGO sale or something crazy. And
Yep.
so, did that kind of play a part in why you chose Gary, just for the speed?
What I didn't think about it for the speed. I thought about it because of the affordability, which then kind of translates to speed. So I sat here in Washington and went, in order to save 20% up, because I at the time I didn't know that I could just live in this duplex for 1 year and then do 5% down again somewhere else. I didn't know that. No one had ever told me that. I hadn't met Dion. Just apparently never caught a video with that information in it. So I said, okay, I have this one. Now, if I'm going to buy another one, that's 20% down payment. And if houses are 5 or 600K, that's a lot of money. That's 100 to 120,000 just for the down payment. And then you have closing costs. That's a lot of money. And so I said, well, look, the amount of time that it's going to be years before I buy another property out here. So I should look at a market that's more affordable, that's lower cost, where my 20% down payment is easier to save up. I didn't anticipate Gary. The reason I got into Gary was some other people made recommendations. They were investing there. They said, check it out. I was a little resistant to it, as most people would be who Googled the city of Gary. You're like, holy crap, who would ever invest here? But I was like, okay, whatever. You know what? I found a little 3-bed, 1-bath, $60,000 fully renovated turnkey rental property with a tenant in place, paying like $850 or $900 a month. And I was like, if I put 20% down on that $60,000 house, that's 12 grand. I don't want to lose 12 grand. But if I do lose 12 grand, that doesn't suck as much as 120 grand. And then on top of that, it's already currently rented. The mortgage payment, because you can run with a mortgage calculator. What's my payment going to be? Oh, my payment's going to be $350 a month. It's rented for $850 a month. All right, I'll try it. And so I did. I bought that first one. I tried it. I was like, oh, this is not so bad. Well, and then what happened next was it's actually not that hard to save up $12,000 and do it again. So I did. So speed was not the reason. I didn't do it going in it like, I need to buy a whole bunch really quickly. It was, I just need to find something affordable that cash flows. And I did. And then went, oh, this is now actually fast by comparison because it's so cheap. I can save up the money to buy more. And I bought a whole bunch. And I've been buying a whole bunch ever since.
Okay.
I'm gonna skip over a few real quick because there was one that I wanted to get to. It was asking about Rumble. Do you think your reach will be? Do you think your reach will be limited on Rumble? Alex is asking.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think right now, obviously, because the audience on Rumble isn't necessarily there for financial content, are my videos on Rumble going to do very well? No. Now, I have some strategies that I'm doing. First of all, I'm releasing content on Rumble exclusively. So I still release YouTube content, but then I say on programs like this, hey, if you want to see a walk and talk interview of me on Dion that I didn't put on YouTube, where I asked him questions that he could respond in a more free manner to than he can on YouTube, the only place you can find it is rumble.com Millennial Mike. That encourages our current audience to go over there and say, yeah, all right, I'll check that out. So I try to draw some of the audience over there. The other thing that I'm doing is a long-term strategy. Most people use YouTube like it's Google. I mean, many people here, I'm sure, have been like, I don't know how to do this. So they use the YouTube search bar like it's Google, how to change a faucet, how to download a program, how to invest in real estate. They use it like it's a search bar. Well, at some point, people will start using Rumble like it's a search bar. So right now, if you type in how to invest in real estate, you're going to get 800 videos. None of them are Mark. None of them are me. None of them are Dion or Matt. Maybe Michael Zuber might have one on the top 100, but it's impossible to find us. If you go on rumble.com right now and you type in how to invest in real estate, there's like 12 videos. Some of them are old. Some of them are loosely related. And then it very quickly like changes to different topics that aren't even related to your search question because no one has created the content yet for the algorithm to say, here's the video that explains how to invest in real estate or how to house hack. So I'm trying to, it's actually kind of fun. I get to go back to the basics and make a bunch of videos or upload some of my old videos that answer some of these basic questions, hoping, of course, that as people begin to search these terms at some point, which I think they will at some point, they'll start to look for this type of content there. They'll find my videos. And at that point, I imagine that I'll start to take off as more of those audiences move over or start becoming interested in that content.
Just want to say what's up to my man Aaron, Wildfire Creations. He's on Instagram right now. He's tuning in there. But he is one of the founders of First Responder Financial Freedom. I'm not sure if you know of them on Facebook or if you've joined their group before, but they also
No, I
have
don't.
a YouTube.
It's Facebook only?
They have a group in Facebook you can join. I'm not sure if they'll let you in, but you can try to apply. No, you can. Yeah, a lot of people are in there, but they have a YouTube channel, podcast, but a bunch of cool guys. Aaron might jump over here and probably give you some jabs for sure. I'm trying to get him to jump over here, but
Sure.
Curtis does. I mean, not Curtis, but Ray does say Curtis is the house hack pro.
He's a stud.
Yeah.
He's a stud.
Yeah, I'm preparing for my third one. I'm trying to refinance one that I'm in before I move out. It looks like I'm going to be able to drop PMI for sure, which is kind of crazy because I've only owned it for like a year. It's just so to drop PMI, that's really good.
That's
but
great.
The rates aren't too different, so I'm kind of debating on if I refinance to drop the PMI. I'll only go down like 1/8 of a point, but the PMI is a big chunk. It's like $300 a month or something.
Right. And there's no way to drop the PMI without the refinance.
Yeah, it seems like the refinance is kind of the only option. I might be able to shop around.
Was it an FHA loan?
No, it was conventional, but I actually found a lender that will drop PMI if you're at 15% equity, not 20, and
gotcha.
So that's kind of why.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Yep. What's up, Aaron? I see Aaron on YouTube. You guys got to get Mike on First Responder Financial Freedom podcast, but Aaron will probably definitely be on Rumble with you at some point when he retires. He definitely probably is same stance as you, similar beliefs and views. But Aaron, yeah, you got to connect with Millennial Mike.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jack is asking. Is Curtis coming to Pittsburgh? I'm not sure if he means to visit or invest.
I'll definitely come visit. That's one spot I've never been. I'm not quite sure about buying yet. As I'm running the number on the house hack, it's like, okay, once I'm like, the numbers aren't great while I live in it, but once I move out, the numbers is pretty good. And so it's just like, am I okay with waiting for that period of time,
Well, plus you heard there was more single women there than
Yeah.
what was it in Pittsburgh. Jack's asking if Mike never invested in Gary, would Pittsburgh have been on the table?
I mean, I didn't ever get turned on to that market, but I suppose as I had continued to look for less expensive cash flowing markets, I mean, I might have stumbled across it eventually. And I mean, I wouldn't have said no. There's a lot of similarities. Both Gary and Pittsburgh, I believe Pittsburgh did steel. Steel was a major industry there at one point, right? Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm pretty sure. So, so I definitely wouldn't have said no to it. But yeah, just there's a lot of different opportunities out there.
He would have piggybacked off of us. He would have been
when did you buy your first property in Pittsburgh?
2021, I believe it was.
Okay. So I would have been there before you. Hater.
Yeah. Let's see. Deconstructing dreams. I hope you're feeling better. I know you had eye surgery and he had a detached retina. So John Litz, he said he's inspecting literally every single day and finding small things every day. Couldn't even imagine doing this from a distance.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. Same thing, Mark. It's tough. It's not easy.
Is that something you think's holding you back too, Curtis? That thought of trying to do it from a distance?
Shit, I probably miss things here, and so and so it's kind of like at a distance. I might be more on it, right? Because like here, I can drive by or I can stop in, but there, I feel like I'd have to have my system so dialed in because I'd have other people like doing it.
Aaron is saying we've been recruiting medics from Pittsburgh. So he's in DC, but he's been recruiting medics from Pittsburgh because they were trying to combine fire and EMS services and failing. I housed two of them, and they they messed up one of his houses, I guess. All right. Let's see what else we got. Nothing else. Anything else? Curtis, does Mike know about how you helped Ray maybe with his next decision? That's a big
Oh,
move for him.
yeah. Well, it's not that big of a move. Ray's moving 5 minutes away, so it's not that big of a move. But Mike, you've been to Ray's house, right? The one that's stacked up and he's doing
I
that.
haven't. I've seen pictures. That's it.
Oh man, you're slacking. But
Yes.
but so I think the plan for him is he's gonna do it all Airbnb, and then he's going to move to another house of his to kind of offset his mortgage completely. Which we kind of talked that through, and I'm really excited for him there. And then I'm not sure if you also know this, but I recently got like licensed, and so I've been working
I did hear that.
I've been working with Jesse Lee and Patrick,
Good.
and so yeah.
Yeah, that's great, man. Congratulations. I think it's fantastic. I mean, that's one of the things I love about you. You're a hustler. Ever since I met you, you're a hustler. You work hard. Again, house hacking. And even before you moved into this triplex, you were kind of slumming it with your first house hack. Like that was brutal in the
Yeah, I
first house hack. So
felt like I was living in Gary.
well, I tell you what though, for the people out there who are watching this, who've made it this far, like a story like Curtis's or like Mark's experience when he bought all those rentals and then, it was tough, and some of the stuff I've shared, like these are like the real stories, the sacrifices that you should expect to make, that you should want to make. If you want that life that everybody desires, that financial freedom, the big paycheck, it takes work. Yeah, you're going to have to house hack in kind of a crappy spot and then house hack again and then house hack again. Or you're going to have to deal with doing things at a distance. Like it takes work, it takes time, it takes effort. And so many people, I think, want to get into investing because, I just want to be retired and do nothing, which fair enough, but you got to earn that first.
Ray's asking, big fan of Airbnb cash flow. How are yours doing, Mike? And would you ever Airbnb the place at Gary?
I don't think an Airbnb in Gary would do very well. Nobody wants to stay there. Every time I go to Gary, before I start staying in my own units, I would Airbnb in Hammond or some other city nearby. So no, I won't be Airbnb-ing anything in Gary. I had converted the other side of my duplex here in the Seattle area to an Airbnb. It did really well. I was bringing in like $3,500 a month immediately, and within like 3 or 4 months, an insurance company reached out to me and said, we'll pay you $3,700 a month, and I now no longer have to go clean it all the time. They needed to house somebody. They housed them for 12 months, and I would have gone back to Airbnb because it was fully furnished, except that my brother came out here and got a job at the same police department as me, and he needed a place to live with him and his wife. So I was like, all right, I'll cut you the family discount. So I gave him a good deal. I put them in next door, and that's why it's no longer an Airbnb. So I had no negative experiences. It was great. I did a good job with it. But, when you get to the status where you don't have to make every dollar you can out of something, you can afford to give back and help family. So that's what I did.
Dylan is saying he just searched up how to invest in real estate and literally couldn't find one video on this topic on Rumble.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so one of the things that's actually kind of frustrating is that their algorithm doesn't really update very quickly. So for instance, like when I made my channel, you couldn't search for it for like a month. And then they did some update, and all of a sudden, finally, when you would type in Millennial Mike on Rumble, my channel would pop up. And so even though I've made some videos, their search functions aren't super great yet. And so I'm making these videos, I'm uploading them. You have to search pretty darn close to what the actual title of my videos are to find them. I'm hoping that their system gets a little bit better. But as I mentioned earlier, that's why I'm also going back to the basic and making some of these very generic how to invest in real estate, which I don't even know if I have a video titled that generic yet. Because I'm doing a lot of just uploading some of my old stuff while bringing some specific walk and talk interviews with like Dion and such. And it takes a while to make this content. But yeah, dude, you go on Rumble, it's a ghost land. Take advantage of that opportunity. I've been telling you guys for years, make a YouTube channel. Mark's one of the few that's taken me up on it. A few others have as well. It will do nothing but help you.
Before I get to Aaron, sorry, Dividend Day made a super chat. So he says an Airbnb in Gary would be called a scare BNB.
That is the Dividend Dave dad joke for sure.
But Aaron Foster is asking, do each of you have a goal? Number of doors, cash flow, net worth, go until you don't want to anymore. So you may have missed Millennial Mike's response earlier, but maybe you can quickly tell Aaron what your kind of end goal is, maybe Mike.
Yeah. I mean, to repeat it again, I don't have an end goal. I will continue to try to grow. I think that the more rentals that I get, the more money that I make, the more influence that I'll have in not only my life, but the lives of people around me in my community. I think that being a very successful businessman is probably actually better than being a politician if you want to actually affect change. And so you need money for that. And I will continue to try to grow and grow and grow so I can give money away and spend money on things that I think are important.
Curtis?
Yeah, I think there's kind of stages. You guys both are towards like the finish line. I'm trying to set kind of like smaller goals, so that way I'm not like, oh god, that seems so far away, right? And so the first goal is like, okay, let me make sure my bills can be paid, right? Like, heaven forbid the school district fires me because some kid did something dumb, or or they said that I did something, or that happens to teachers all the time, or there's budget cuts, or PE's cut, or something happens.
Mhm.
I at least want my bills to be covered first, and then eventually replace the salary, right? And then get to that fat fire where I can live the lifestyle that we all would like to live. And so that's kind of how I see it. It's kind of those rings of success.
Mhm.
Well,
Agreed.
I'm not the glory hound like the police officer or anything, so I'm definitely pretty satisfied where I'm at. But I think part of it's going to be more where my son's direction is. So as far as like real estate side, it might be towards that tail end of where I need to be or want to be or I'm comfortable with. But he may not have any interest in real estate, but he may want to start a business or head down, start some sort of clothing line or something. So it might be more focused to that aspect. So the real estate side is going to kind of be its own. And then what I can incorporate my son into, like maybe some sort of business or project that we can work on together. So something like that. That's more the end goal for me.
Hmm. Mike, are you going to try to get your kids involved?
Yeah. So I actually started homeschooling my son this year. Well, my girlfriend homeschooling my son. It's not me doing that much of it. But I would actually like to bring him out there with me and teach him how to work with his hands. I mean, most boys don't want to sit down and shut up for 8 hours a day. That's why he struggled in school. And so bringing him out there and being like, okay, I'm going to teach you how to, I don't know, put some LVP flooring down, just connecting the pieces, not making the cuts, but just connecting the pieces, and I'll do the fancy cut, like just things like that. Teaching him how to work on things in terms of the actual financial math, the numbers, the assessing properties. He's got to be a little bit older. At some point, I'll talk to him about that stuff, but he could definitely come with and learn how to clean up the exterior properties, haul garbage for me, shine a light for me, all that good stuff that will build character. We all have memories of being yelled at by somebody, right?
So I think Chris Wissing, who we all kind of know, he's kind of starting his YouTube channel again, his
Good.
journey. So he has his son involved in a lot of the videos recently, like during the work, and so I think that's going to be kind of his focus. So he should be in Vegas again, I believe, also. But Kyle Dorn is here, I do see, and he caused quite a stir. I'm not sure if you heard Millennial Mike. He talked about his, reaching his retirement, and his expense is only $540 a month.
Mhm.
So a lot of people were calling BS and whatnot. So he's been on twice with Dion, but he'll also be live streaming with me this Saturday. He's bringing his girlfriend on, Taylor. A lot of people had
Oh,
questions
nice.
for their girlfriend, so she'll be on.
Good.
But Kyle does say wanting is easy, showing it is hard. You are your actions, not your wishes. Stop lying. Credit to whoever came up with this.
Right. No, I agree.
And before I don't know how much time you have, Mike. I know you're busy, so we can wrap it up if you need to. But you have something coming on Sunday, right? Aren't you going to be on someone's channel or
That's
what?
right. I forgot about that. Yeah, if you're still watching, I'm going to be doing a debate. So again, one of the things that I'm trying to do is have a little bit more influence in controversial topics and issues. And I'm restricted because of my job. I'm not allowed to ever have political opinions as a police officer. So I always have to say, it's almost like the Steve Dow. Like, hey, the opinions I hold are my own, and I work very happily for the department I work for, but everything I say is my opinion. So, but I'm gonna be in a debate. I'm going to debate somebody on whether or not welfare is a human right. So it should be interesting. This person is very pro social welfare. Now, the funny thing is I'm not anti welfare. obviously work with a Section 8 program. I grew up on Section 8 myself, food stamps, free lunches. We were dirt poor. I'm not anti-welfare. I just don't think it's a human right. I don't think you have a right to somebody else's labor. And so we're going to argue that, and it should be fun. It's a pretty popular debate channel. Some of the people that have been on this lady's channel have been on with Pierce Morgan and debated very famous people, so she's got a great channel. She's a nice lady. Would love to have you guys there in the chat. November 9th. It's posted on my story in terms of the time, depending on which time zone you're in, but just check my Instagram out. I'll post links to the video and everything, and would love some support from the audience.
You got time for a few more questions, or?
Sure. Yeah. Well, my only concern is my camera will die. It's a new camera system. So if it dies, that's why. But yes, I'll hang out.
All right. Alex is asking, Mike, how do you handle the 10 conventional loan limits?
Yeah, I'm nowhere even near it. I think I will now have 6, maybe 7 at all these years and all these properties. It didn't take me very long to realize that private money, seller financing are way better than conventional loans. So I did a bunch of seller finance deals. I did a bunch of private money deals where I paid cash using private money. And now as I'm getting on the back end of my slow burst strategy where I need to actually put 30-year fixed rate money on it, okay, I'm going to actually use one of those mortgage slots to do that. Now, if I did run out of 10, I would then look at some of my cheapest properties and say, well, maybe it's worth it to just pay one of these off. And again, I'm lucky because in Gary, some of these houses I have mortgages on, my mortgage is like the remaining balance is like $40,000. Just pay that off with a refinance, just wipe it out. Boom, I've got another slot. But ultimately, my other strategy was just go to a non-conventional mortgage provider, and I forget the darn names. I know Steve Dow's one with Velocity, but the other one has 2 guys. I forget what their names are on the Zuber channel.
Convoy.
Yes, Convoy. They will provide 30-year fixed rate money on up to 8 units. So, I mean, your interest rate's not going to be quite as good as that conventional mortgage, but if you can make the numbers work, you can do cash out refis. I've asked Steve Dow if you can do a cash out refi on a property I own cash. He's like, yeah, we can. So that would be my workaround for that.
I forgot Curtis is also streaming live on his YouTube channel. So for those of you, can you guys go jump over there, hit the like, subscribe if you haven't yet. But Curtis is streaming on his channel also right now. Aaron, like I said, I hate to admit it, but Mike is a good dude. But Aaron is saying I like Mike already. So like I said, he probably shares a lot of the same political views that you do.
Wait, he's a cop? You said he's a cop? He's a first
No, he's a firefighter, man.
Okay. Well, I understand his hesitation.
And he just had a newborn recently, also recently married. But he wants to buy a castle. That's kind of his. I think, yeah.
Hey, dude, I respect it. One of my goals is to buy one of the abandoned middle schools or high schools in Gary. I just think it would be sick to own that.
Yeah, every time he's on, man, it's fun. It's it's a riot when Aaron's on, but he's kind of busy. And you should check out. I don't think I have it. His Instagram page. He does a lot of woodworking stuff. They make the retirement plaques,
nice.
Things like that. So it's very cool. Let's see. Convoy. Yeah, Dividend Dave. So Andy, who's also in the chat, he met up with us when we were in North Carolina. Andy's also a good dude. He's going to be in Vegas. He's in Ohio. Says, Jack is asking, Mike, have you ever got to be in a helicopter for SWAT?
Yeah, several times. So I've done it. We do fast roping, or sometimes they'll just pick you up and drop you off. But fast roping is where the helicopter hovers up to like 60, 70 feet above the ground. And you just grab the rope and you zip down it like it's a pole for a firefighter. It's intimidating because you've got 60, 70 pounds worth of gear on. And you're not there's no safety harness. If you let go, you're cooked. You've got to get from this helicopter down to the ground quickly. And so you fast rope out and don't fall. Good luck. So never fell. Not yet.
I've been in a helicopter. We had to jump out of it for training into the ocean, but never rappelled out of it during an actual rescue or anything. He's asking Curtis the same question. Yeah, Curtis, have you ever been in a helicopter as a real estate agent?
Not yet. Although I did look at in New York, it's sometimes cheaper to take a helicopter than it is to Uber.
Yeah, I believe
so
it.
I said, that might be.
We need to do one of those Vegas tours, Curtis, like those helicopter Vegas tours. Check that out.
Oh, yes.
Hold on. So Aaron, are you asking me you and Mike should be on, or you want Mike on your first responder financial freedom? But but yeah, Andy says Mike and Aaron would definitely have to be on Rumble. I agree.
That is my favorite thing I'm looking forward to in being retired from my current job is I will be able to say exactly what I think, and I won't have to filter it so that when the haters out there who work in my department or anti-law enforcement people see something, or when some defense attorneys trying to do research on me for some case, they can't be like, wow, look at these unbelievably controversial opinions you have. Oh, you mean I think we should prosecute crime because I'm a police officer and we probably shouldn't make meth legal in Seattle? Yeah, okay. You're right. It's how controversial of me, but I've got to be careful with what I say. So I talk about real estate.
Yeah,
uh,
I
people.
I definitely feel that as a teacher, some people got talked to about the Charlie Kirk stuff. Like some people in my district got pulled aside and was like, "Hey, just a reminder that if you post the thing and parents see it, that could be a problem."
Right.
Yeah.
So I do see people now coming in from Curtis's channel. Thanks for jumping over there. But Alex is saying you should suggest a Pacific Northwest meetup. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I go to tons. I think month of October, I went to 10 of them. And so the one we had on Monday was Tacoma F.I.R.E, which is awesome. We meet right on the edge of Spanaway and Tacoma, first Monday of the month. Last night was Pints and Properties. We meet in Milton, first Tuesday of the month. We had a rock star accountant come in and tell us basically how to pay no taxes. And so that was really awesome. If you're interested in more, feel free to DM me on Instagram and I'll send you some.
Yeah, and go check out Curtis's channel. I know he just put out some recent videos. What was your most recent one? Was it a VA loan what you were talking about, or?
Yep. The VA loan. I had Rochelle on. She was a veteran that's kind of used the VA loan in multiple states. So it's very important when you choose a lender to work with that they actually know what they're doing with products. And so not only is she an expert, but she's done it multiple times.
Oh, Alex is saying a meetup put together for our people. You should.
Oh, that's a great question. Mike is gonna be financially free soon, so he can put that together.
Well, I highly recommend that everybody just attend the event in Vegas. So it's a 2-day event. It's a lot of fun, but we do our own meetup for just our people. We have a Denny's midnight meetup. I missed last year's because I was driving across the country and we had car problems. I didn't get there in time. I was very
But you
frustrated.
got to go to Bucky's.
I did go to Bucky's. Yes, I have a nice,
See?
great shirt,
Awesome.
great beef jerky. But yeah, and the whole purpose of those midnight Denny's meetups, I do them in Gary when I go. We did one when Lumberjack and Dion were with me and Gary just a month ago. We had a midnight Denny's meetup. Actually, it might have been an IHOP, which is a little sacrilegious, but whatever. And we do that. It's free. Anybody can come. We don't show up at midnight. A lot of people are like, "Oh, midnight's too late for me." Brandon, bro, we start at like 9 or 10. We call it the midnight. The reason it's called the midnight Denny's meetup for people who don't understand the lore, okay, the history. I've been going to Denny's at midnight for like since I was 18. Christmas, they're always open, right? It's an American institution. It's always open. I go Christmas. I go any random time I was hungry. I didn't want to make food, which was all the time because I was a poor broke with no girlfriend or wife. I would go to Denny's. And so when Dion and I first met, and he was like, "Yeah, we should go. We should get lunch or dinner together." At some point, I was like, "Dion, I'm broke. I can't really afford anything more than Denny's." I said it as a joke, and Dion went, "I love Denny's." So Dion's and my thing is to always go to Denny's together. We go to Denny's together almost every time we hang out, unless we go someplace nicer. But most of the time, it's Denny's. And so I was telling him with the very first Vegas event, I was like, "Dude, we should do like a midnight Denny's meetup for people who are interested." And bro, we closed that Denny's out. I think Mark was there for that first one. It was like 40 people in there, dude. And I don't know how the ones went for last year because I missed it, but I won't miss this year's. I'm flying this year.
Uh, wait, hold on. Oh, I do have a question for you. Has Dion talked to you about what location? Because so there's been discussion that we need to move the Denny's. So we thought we were going to try to move it to the Fremont one because a lot of people stay in Fremont.
Yeah.
But when we hear Dion speaking now, it sounds like he's talking about the one on the Strip.
I'll chat with him about it. We've got time. If most people are staying on Fremont, we'll try to find one that's close for everybody. So I'll let him know.
All right.
I'll make an executive decision.
I
He's
don't know.
on vacation in Thailand. So
I don't know if Chester's joking. He says, "What is this Buc-ee's? Do you want to explain it?"
Bro, hold on one sec.
Gotta go get my mug and my hat and my nail clippers and my. I got all kinds of Buc-ee's gear.
Dude, the Buc-ee's merch.
Oh gosh.
I bought this months ago. Hopefully she doesn't come out here. This is the Christmas present I got from my girlfriend. It's a Buc-ee's shirt, and he might even be too big for this now, but we'll see for the baby. So, anyways, dude, it is a cult. It is a cult following for a gas station, right? Imagine the insanity behind how much people love Chick-fil-A, but for a gas station. I don't know why it's so popular. And then I went there for the first time and I was like, this is the coolest gas station I've ever been to. It's just a freaking gas station. There's like 100 gas pumps. It's absurd how many gas pumps there are. Like literally, it's probably not actually 100, probably like 70 or something, but it's an absurd amount. And then you go inside and it's just this massive store. Like the slushy machines, there's like 50 of them. You go into the bathrooms, they're the cleanest bathrooms you've ever seen in a gas station. It's beautiful. There's merchandise you can get. I don't know why it's so popular. It just is. And I got to admit, I'm kind of a fan. I still think we should have renamed the Gulf of America to the Gulf of Buc-ee's. Like, that's how big of a fan I am.
I just was there actually. So when I went to I went to North Carolina, I met up with like Val, Andy, David, and Dave. I went to the one in South Carolina, and yeah, it's amazing. And actually, I thought you were gonna say you bought those for me, those little baby Buc-ee's.
That onesie?
Yeah. But Chester, I think Virginia has one now. I think that might. But Val's a truck driver, so he said every time he's driving into Jersey, I believe, he said there's a big billboard that says U-turn, like whatever, 700 miles away.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that's weird about it. So I drove from Seattle to Florida and back a lot. I had to move my girlfriend out here, and then we went out there to have the baby, and we needed a car. So I drove it, and it's no joke. You'll see your first billboard. It'll be 500 miles ahead, Paradise, and then it's just the Buc-ee's logo. And then another billboard like 200 miles still away, 200 miles ahead, good things come to those who wait. Picture of the Buc-ee's beaver or whatever. And they just have billboards in every direction for states. You're 3 states away. You're like, bro, why are you advertising?
Did you ever see the pay scale?
What'd you say?
Did you ever see the pay scale? Like how much?
Pay is crazy.
Yeah, they pay their people well. Yeah. Dude, it's an American thing, bro.
Ray is saying, I can't wait to hit Buc-ee's on an RV trip. Yeah, Buc-ee's is amazing.
You will love it. I promise. Send me a picture.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was always fun. It's good to catch up. I do want to ask you one last thing then real quick, Mike, because we've always heard Dion talk about it, like leaving for his kids, right? Like the generational wealth type of stuff. Mm-hmm. What's your take on that? I mean, how are you gonna leave it for your family?
Yeah.
Or your kids?
That's a really good question. So if you read the book, The Millionaire Next Door, which I highly recommend everybody reads, I used to keep it on my desk. I probably actually stole my desk upstairs. The Millionaire Next Door, if you read this book, it talks about what they call a prodigious accumulator of wealth. Somebody like you, somebody like me, somebody like Curtis. We're the people who go above and beyond. We are the first generation that creates the wealth. What ends up happening is that we want to take care of our children and give them the life that we never had. Makes total sense, right? It's what any parent would want to do. But in our desire and quest to give our kids a better life, we actually, and I don't know a better way to say this, and I don't mean it in the inappropriate way, but we literally like retard their development. We inhibit their development. We restrict it. I can't think of a better word to use than that. They are not going to experience the same hardships that drove us to become prodigious accumulators of wealth. And so they never build those financial muscles. They don't learn how to make money. They don't have the need, the desire. And then by the third generation, so my grandkids, our grandkids, our children's children, they completely have no idea how to do anything. And if you go through, it's tons of studies in the book that show wealth is created and we catapult to the top 10%, top 1%. but those skills immediately deteriorate and are absent from the next generations, who then take the wealth that we created, squander it, lose it. And almost everybody who's in the top 10%, top 1%, by the third generation, they're back at the poverty line or they're back at the middle income line. They're just totally average. And they're typically completely dependent upon the financial aid and support of their wealthy parents and grandparents. So when you read that book, you realize the worst thing that I could ever do is leave a bunch of money to my kids who now expect it. They're not going to work hard to create for themselves. They're just hoping you die so they get your inheritance. Like, that's a terrible system to set up. Dion always jokingly says, I don't want to financially incentivize my children to say, nah, pull the plug. He's had a great life. He's good to go, right? And hopefully no one would do that, but I'm sure people do that. And so, of course, I take care of my kid. I will never encourage him to go to college. I think college is an absolute waste. No offense, Curtis. I know you have a degree, but you have a degree and you do a job that's valuable. But like, so many people have useless degrees. And even if the degree isn't useless, how much did you spend to get it? What is your return on investment for that degree versus becoming a plumber, an electrician, a handyman, a carpenter, a police officer, a firefighter? I don't know about in Hawaii. I didn't need a college degree. I just needed a high school diploma. Now, I'm incredibly pro-education, just not pro 4-year high debt indoctrination camp education. That's not what I'm about. And so I will encourage him to get a job that teaches him how to work hard, work with his hands. I'm not going to buy him a car. I'm not going to pay for his apartment. I'm not going to pay for his lifestyle. He has to do it himself. The only thing that I could see myself doing, I don't know what the lending status will be in the future, what interest rates will be, what access to capital will be like. If he can bring a business plan to me, or if he wants to buy a house, what could I see myself lending him money on like a fixed 30-year fixed rate term that would be similar to like a mortgage opportunity I had? Sure, but it will never be a gift. It will be a loan. If he wants my properties one day, he can buy them from me if at a fair market value, or I can help him figure out how to get his own. I won't be leaving in retirement. My goal will be to leave like some sort of LLC that then generates money to further pursue my interests after I'm gone via donating to different charities that I either start or am a part of.
So are you thinking like a small loan of $1 million?
Right. I was thinking about, small loan of $1 million, But I mean, like, look, people want to criticize the president, but in reality, like a small loan of $1 million in New York real estate really doesn't go that far. He did turn that into massive buildings in major cities all across the country, including New York, including Vegas. To your average person who hears, oh, small loan of $1 million. Yeah, sorry, it's dad's money. Like, well, $1 million doesn't build the Trump Tower. Like, you actually had to do something with that $1 million. So,
very true. Yeah.
Do you guys know what Flying J is?
It's another, it's a popular gas station, trucker gas station.
Yeah, that's what Chester's asking.
No. So, I mean, I've been to Flying J. Flying J is pretty nice. Nothing compared to Buc-ee's. Trust me, I've been to many gas stations across this country. I've driven all over the place. There is nothing like Buc-ee's. It is the Costco Disneyland of gas stations.
Really? How's it compared to like the Wawa?
Yeah, I mean, Wawa's another like good one, but like I'm telling you, you just walk in and you're like, instead of one slushy machine, there's 30. You couldn't possibly have all of these going at the same time, but for whatever reason, there's 30. There is a beef jerky bar. There's hundreds of packages of prepackaged beef jerky, which tastes phenomenal, by the way. The gas station, and I told you, it's no joke. There is like 70 pumps at a Buc-ee's. 70. It's absurd.
And it's like organized.
Yes.
It's like people are, parking the proper way to get into the pump. And it's like, yeah, even the bathroom is, my son walked into the restroom and he was just like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Right. Yeah, you ever seen one of those memes where it's like a futuristic picture and it's like what society would have been like if we hadn't have voted for this person or done this thing? Some futuristic picture of like utopian society. Like just replace that picture with Buc-ee's. And that's what society would be like if we were living our best lives.
All right, everyone. Dylan also just said he posted his first video on Rumble.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad he took my advice.
And Kyle Dorn says, Wawa rudder sheets on steroids. I believe he's what he's saying Buc-ee's is. And hey, I see Esther tuning in. She says, nice to have Mike back on your channel. Yeah, it's always a good time. All right. Well, I guess that's it, man. This was fun. This was good catching up.
Yeah.
So 1 year, 12 months, you saying, Mike, is the timeline? Is that what should
I
be
think that's what
expecting?
I'm probably leaning towards. I think that's a very possible outcome. If I end up there for another 18 months to 2 years, I won't be upset, but I think there's a very good chance it could be my final 12 months.
Nice. Yeah. I think I might beat you. But it's different reasons though. Definitely different reasons.
Okay. Well, I have to hear about those soon.
Yeah. No, yeah, just yeah, I haven't been working since March.
So
I'm
you said it was medical? Like what happened?
I tore my rotator. I had rotator cuff surgery. So I haven't been. So actually, I don't think I may have went back to work for like a couple weeks after Vegas, and I've been out on workers' comp since then.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
collecting some sort of like
Yeah.
light duty disability paychecks though, right?
Yeah, and but
Okay.
then it took forever just to get the surgery like
Right.
completely died. So to say it was surgery, so I didn't have a surgery till August,
Right.
and then now I got to have surgery again in December. They said more for to manipulate the shoulder. So I got to go in and they're gonna surgery to force my shoulder to move certain ways and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, everyone, thanks for tuning in. We'll try getting Mike to do this more often. Sounds like first responder financial freedom might be reaching out to you too, Mike.
Sure.
But it's always fun, and like I said, hope everyone enjoyed it. It's good to connect. Curtis, thanks for jumping on.
Thank you for
And
having
I
me.
will be back tomorrow at 11:45 a.m. live streaming with Jack and Emily Lopez. If you guys haven't seen her, she's been on my channel recently. And damn, Zuber just interviewed her too. So Zuber just getting
He
yeah,
stole from you, bro.
I know, but she's super fun. She's in Wyoming. She has a DIY channel. You can DIY home. She has like 15,000 subscribers, and she has a food truck. I don't know if you heard the story, but she also has a food truck. They have buffalo wings that has
Nice.
won the New York buffalo wings competition like 4 years in a row.
It's cool.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you folks tomorrow morning.